Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you guys?
I'm good. Yeah. Nice.
Maliki, really?
Yes. Yes.
Back to school fair, back to school fair, back to school fair.
Appeal for funds, appeal for funds.
Really?
I'm taking donations.
Bring a basket.
Thank you.
Bring a
I'll be
basket.
going around the office.
Oh, come on. With the discounts that I have seen that are coming off tomorrow, I don't think you need any serious donations for...
You can never have too much money. Is this your way of trying to worm yourself out of...
Especially if you have demanding kids.
Well,
especially if you have dada buckets.
It's the
Yeah,
Dadaba,
that's a
yes,
correct one.
the Dadaba kids. But no, like you said, everything is going to be pretty affordable.
Everything is going to be pretty affordable.
Yes, so it shouldn't be a problem. But you are not getting out of
Out of what?
contributing.
His contribution
Yes,
basket.
Oh, but
thank
you know, speaking of people needing contributions, good morning to the CEO and the finance managers of Multimedia Group. It's a very, very good morning.
It is a very good morning. And we thank them that it is a good morning, and that will enable you to contribute.
And that means that anyone does not need contributions. Guys, let's do front pages.
Let's start
Malik.
with the Today newspaper. Adongo snuffs Parliament as it begins probe into banking crisis. And we remember Adongo yesterday storming out of the parliamentary probe. Ministry of Education, PRO goes berserk, calls journalists stupid, and Ayarga sues Gan East Assembly. The last story on the front page of the Today newspaper, Rawlings weeps for NDC.
And on the front page of the Business Finder, there's a whole section for market summary this morning, so you can get all your information from there. ESLA raises 264 million Ghana cedis at 19.50%. Investments are safe in Ghana. President assures the Chinese business community. And according to the Vice President, the Sino-Hydro deal is innovative.
That same Sino-Hydro deal is also on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper, and that's Bawumia talking. But Sinotrack, this one from Sino-Hydro to Sinotrack. Sinotrack International to establish truck assembly plant in Ghana. That's on the front page of the Daily Statesman newspaper. The last story here, President signs bill. At least 30% of any bauxite business must be Ghanaian.
On the Business and Financial Times, Access Bank introduces Remita payroll processing solution. Only industrialization can save job losses. That's according to the CEO of Jospong. And government to integrate all payment systems next year. That's according to the Vice President. And finally, robust digitization will shore up tax yields.
The Chronicle newspaper, IMF gives NDC bloody nose as attempt to scupper $2 billion Sino-Hydro deal backfires, and probe of collapsed banks useless. Adongo Dufour others sued for recovery of 5 billion Ghana cedis.
And that story about Dufour also trending on the front page of the Daily Guide. KPMG sues Unibank directors. Sinotrack is coming with a plant. Auditor General exposed over 7.6 million Ghana cedi cars. MPs grill governor over collapsed banks, and Serene Insurance launch.
The New Crusading Guide newspaper, Kwesi Nyantakyi in trouble as FIFA extends ban. Occupy Ghana shakes parliament, petitions speaker over in-camera hearing of banking rot, and plot to destroy MPA boss his snag as MPA rubbishes rent allegation against CEO.
And finally, from me, starting from the back page of the Daily Graphic, flood victims in the northern region call for quick response. Acre Energy supports 150 students in the western region. And on the front pages, Christians deserve national worship monuments, as according to Reverend Frimpong Mansu, who is hitting back at critics. Chinese investors are coming. Heavy-duty truck manufacturer Sinotrack to set up in Ghana. And finally, FIFA extends Nyantakyi's ban.
The Ghanaian Times newspaper, President Wu's Chinese business investors says Ghana is haven for peace, security, and stability. Also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, World Bank to release $50 million to combat galamsey. Back page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, there are two stories here. Ghana to supply 100 megawatts of power to Burkina Faso, and Ghana Health Service to build 10,000 bungalows for healthcare providers.
Thank you, Malik and Raymond. And anymore. Yeah, it has
First
happened.
It was Ophelia, now it's Raymond. Yeah. The whole change in gender. Let's give it to God and
We'll
move
take
on,
it
right?
like that.
We are moving into KPMG.
Yes,
please.
indeed, we are. So the receiver of the collapsed bank, KPMG, has sued founder of the bank, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, and 16 others to pay 5,712,623,145 Ghana cedis,
That's a lot of
which
figures.
I know, which was allegedly misappropriated. So, a suit was filed at an Accra High Court, and the receiver, Niamano Dodu, who's a senior partner at KPMG, is seeking an order of the court against Dr. Duffuor and 16 others. Now there are 17 defendants in this case, but there are 11 people, and the people who have been listed are Dr. Kwabena Duffuor, Dr. Kwabena Duffuor II, Opoku Jenfi Boateng, Professor Newman Kojo Kusi, Owusu Ansa Are, Ekonya Kodasi, Clifford Duke Metal, Boatema Kakra Duffuor, Kofi Treda, Kwanana Boachi Asafaje, and Alex Boabing. So apart from an order for the defendant to repay the funds, the plaintiff prayed the court for an order to appoint the registrar or any other officer of the court as the receiver and manager of the assets of the defending, pending the final determination of the suit. Now, we know that Dr. Duffuor filed a suit against he sued the Bank of Ghana because he said that if he had been given time, he would have been able to raise the funds. But the findings also showed at that point that Unibank shareholders and related parties allegedly acquired several real estate properties in their own names using the funds. Now, an amount of 5.3 billion of total assets of the bank. Out of total customer deposits of 4.3 billion, 2.3 billion was not disclosed to the Bank of Ghana. Now, KPMG issued a statement to indicate that depositors' money had been used by the shareholders of the bank to open several other allied businesses in their names or that of their associates. Now, this is what KPMG wants. It is seeking a declaration that the various transactions which resulted in the unlawful loans, unlawful advances, and the acquisition of assets in the names of shareholders, they are related and or persons related to the shareholders are lawful. Also, Mr. Dodu wants an order directing the defendants to account to the plaintiff for all advantages, benefits, gains, and profits derived from or obtained by virtue of assets, and an order compelling respondents, their servants, agents, privies, assigns, and any other persons representing them or acting on their behalf or their behest, or anyone in possession, custody, or control of the assets to allow access to the assets to facilitate the inspection of the assets.
And
that's what...
And whilst this is happening in the court, a lot more is also happening in Parliament. And of course, in spite of...
Malik, before you bring us what's happening in Parliament, I have a quick observation about what is happening in the court. I think that we've gotten to this point where this is where we get the money, right? Niamano Dodu going to court to go and get the money. This is where we get it. However, history doesn't really favor us because in the 1988 banking scandal, when NPAT was set up, the Non-Performing Assets Recovery Trust was set up. What the experts tell us, and from our reading, we understand that it was a very long, tedious process to actually recover the funds. And that's, for me, is the most key part, because this 9.3 billion that we have been making a lot of noise about, in the end, it's about getting the money back. Which is why I think that since the receiver is wildly looking for money, individuals who know, and especially employees of these banks, who know where some of these shareholders may have put the cash, properties that may have been bought, maybe if there are secret accounts or any other properties, they can come forward with the information, helping out the receiver so that the receiver can get because you see, in the 1988 one, the cost to the state, if you're going to compare in 2017 dollars, it was about $650 billion.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, considering the fact that today we want to borrow 50 billion for 100 years. Our entire GDP is 42 billion. So you can imagine if 10, 20, 30 years from now, if you're counting a cost to the states today,
that amount of money.
you get what I'm talking about. So really, if you know where any of this money may be, or where any of these individuals that were named earlier by anyone may have been keeping the money, please come forward to the receiver. If you can't get to Mr. Aman Ododu, you come to us here at Joy FM. Yeah, you come. Call any of our numbers. Come to us here. We'll direct you to where he is. And by the way, Mr. Dodu, if people are coming, I think it should be fair that there should be a reward system
for them.
Both for the people who are bringing the money and the people who are directing people to bring the money, so that when we go to
I see where this is going. I see where this is going.
No. It's only fair that if people are coming for the information, they are rewarded in some way.
So can I finish my story now? Which Malik was going to do, but it's okay, Malik,
yes,
go ahead.
I was saying that while this is happening in court, we know that a lot more is happening in Parliament, and the Parliament's Finance Committee had its first meeting yesterday. After all the protestations about this should happen in public, the committee insisted that it was going to do this in private. Nonetheless, a lot of what has happened is out there, and maybe out there with the twist that the committee itself wanted to avoid. And yesterday, the first person who stormed out of the committee hearing was a member of the Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, who is member of Parliament for Bolga Central. And he essentially said that this was a cover-up and that he did not see why he should participate in it. First of all, he complained that the documents he was given were incomplete. They were press releases, press statements, the Governor of Bank of Ghana speeches, executive summary of Boulder's report, when a number of activities were done and there were no comprehensive reports given to him. And he said that he was handicapped and therefore was unable to contribute to the discussion to unravel the circumstances that led to the collapse of the banks. And then, of course, another member of the Finance Committee, who, by the way, stayed, and there were many members of the minority on the Finance Committee who stayed for these processes. Another member came out, and this is John Jinapo, member of Parliament for Yape Kusogo, who came out and said that, look, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana was evasive in some of the questions that they put to him. He was unable to state categorically what is the fate of the workers of the Consolidated Bank. Among others, for him, he was disappointed by the answers that the governor gave.
And on Isaac Adongo walking out, the MPP MP for Pandai, Matthew Nyindam, yes, who is also a member of the Finance Committee, he said he wasn't surprised that Mr. Adongo walked out because it was premeditated, considering that he has already taken a stand by criticizing the Bank of Ghana.
In fact, he has announced that if the NDC comes back to power, the banks will be returned to their owners.
Yes, okay.
So, guys, let's move from banking and let's talk about parents besieging the Solution Center of GES.
Yes. You know that after the placements have been done for people who completed JHS and are going to senior high schools, last year there were disagreements. This year, some people have not been placed and some people have been placed in schools where they want to change. What the GES has done is to set up regional centers, regional solution centers, where parents can go to and then have their problems resolved. The Ghanaian Times is reporting that the solution center in the Greater Accra region is at the Black Star Square, that's the Independence Square as we call it. A section of the square has been taken for this process. The Ghanaian Times reports that yesterday when it visited around 10, about 100 issues had been listed already. There were about 80 parents who were in queue. Chairs have been provided for the people, and if you have any issues, and some of the issues, as I stated earlier, relates to non-posting, their children or wards have not been placed at all. Some of them, they have been placed, but the parents, for purposes of proximity, want the placements to change so that they can have their wards in schools that are close to where they live. But the other regions have their own regional solution centers as well, which is good for parents. So
great.
All the parents should look for these regional solution centers, because in Accra, some of the people went to the offices of the Ghana Education Service and they were redirected to the Black Star Square, where there are officers stationed there on desks dealing with the problems. So you come, you join a queue, you lay your problems out, and then they provide a solution for you. I think is
I think it's a good move. From yesterday, we've been receiving messages about parents who have had challenges with the placement of their awards, and that's why today,
and also with the portal.
Exactly, and that's why today we are bringing in Cassandra Chuma Ampofo. Actually, we promised we would speak to them yesterday. Yesterday, we were working the phone lines, and we were unable to do that. We apologize for not doing that yesterday, but then today she is coming into studio to join us during the show to answer all the questions that you may have about the placement of your wards.
So you can start sending in your questions from now.
Exactly. 0244 340 0244 340 at Joy 997 FM on Twitter, Joy 99.7 FM on Facebook, #JoySMS. Any more?
I like the way you say that.
Which one?
Nice.
The Joy
He
SMS.
listed all the things.
Yes. So we're going to Tamale now. So there's a problem at the Tamale Central Prison. It is overpopulated. Now, the prison was built to accommodate 80 inmates. At the moment, there are over 300 inmates. A cell is supposed to take 4 inmates, and at the moment, there are 30 inmates per cell. I don't even want to imagine what the living conditions must be like. The PRO of TCP, David Afacha, was saying that due to the increasing number of inmates and overcrowded nature of the facility, the inmates are not doing well at all. As much as the government has been trying to support them, it is not enough, especially when it comes to adequate medical resources and their food. However, there are people in Tamale who have been donating and giving. So he's very thankful that he's appealing to parents, chiefs, elders, opinion leaders, and religious leaders to be concerned about the day-to-day interests. He's also asking for attention because obviously it's not it's not in Accra, it's not in, so it
Right.
seems to be a little bit neglected. He also talks about the fact that the ascendancy of crime is mainly because of poor parental guidance, control, and supervision, and also the fact that families are stigmatizing prisoners, and
Okay.
so they're not reintegrating them back into families, and so they are reoffending.
Malik, bring us
From
back to
Tamale,
Accra.
let's go to Agbogbuloshi. So one person died and 15 others were rounded up because they attacked the police. The police went to a ghetto at Agbogbuloshi to go and arrest one Husule, who is, according to the police, reported to have taken some items that he got the proceeds of a robbery attack. And then he was keeping them at this ghetto in Agbogbuloshi. So the police had information. They went there to arrest him. In fact, they arrested him and another person. But a gang of people around them then attacked the police to take away the loot that this guy brought, for which the police arrested them. And then in the ensuing scuffle, one person died, and the police rounded up 15 people from this ghetto who are in detention now and are assisting the police with the investigation in relation to this. You can imagine the level of bravado that will make the police arrest somebody, and then you go to attack, not to free the person, but to collect the loot and then keep it for yourself.
I know.
Okay.
It's quite
Right,
serious.
guys, it's very, very serious. But guys, let's move on. And the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Goyle Good Energy, and download the Safe Doctor app now from the Google Play. Safe Doctor, the future of better medical care. Now, you've got great love for your vehicle. You want the engine to last longer and perform to its maximum. It's okay. Goyle has the new super synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubricants for you. These specially engineered superior engine oils work efficiently on all modern petrol and diesel engines. They clean, protect, reduce fuel consumption, prolong oil change intervals, and enhance engine performance from startup till you switch off. Go to any Goyle filling station and grab the new Goyle super synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Engineering innovation for your vehicle has arrived. Goyle Good Energy. Now, did you know that paying school fees can be easy as ABC? And did you know that Zenith Bank provides the most reliable school fees payment service? Well, now you know. Visit any of our business locations nationwide for easy and prompt school fees payment, or visit our website zenithbank.com.gh to pay school fees via Zenith Global Pay if you are a Zenith Bank customer. Zenith School Fees Payment, your stress-free solution to paying school fees. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. Anyway, what was that you were telling me earlier about the need for reproductive education in the Ashanti region?
Yes. No. That was yesterday, sir. But this is just the need for reproductive education across board in terms of adolescents. So apparently the contraceptive prevalence rate amongst adolescents ranges from 17% in West Africa to 73% in Latin America, and here in Ghana is 16.7%. And these indicators show that when adolescents are equipped with adequate knowledge, they are able to not get into trouble, pretty much not get pregnant, go to school, have families, and do well. So that's really it. This is really talking about educating teenagers on contraception. The problem with that is that we're such a religious country, and so we preach abstinence, and so there's a contradiction, preaching abstinence but equipping with contraceptives.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a dicey situation.
That's actually contradiction.
Yes, a contradiction.
Anyway,
Yes,
let's
Malik.
do Sinus Track International. You know, not too long ago, just I think a couple of last week or so, the VW setting up a plant in Ghana. Now, Sinotruk, this is China's first heavy-duty truck company, is also heading to Ghana to set up an assembly plant in Ghana. And there was a memorandum of understanding signed with the Ministry of did I forget this one? With the Ministry of Trade. Yesterday at Shandong Business Conference in China, and the company is supposed to set up, and it is expected that they will produce 15 trucks, 1,500 trucks every year.
1,500
for 1,500 Americans who say 1,500 every year for distribution in Ghana and also in West Africa. This company last year they produced 300,000 trucks, which they sold across the world. But if they set up in Ghana for the first year, they are targeting to produce 1,500 for distribution.
Okay. Speaking of Ghana's relationship with China, there's an interesting op-ed on, that's an opinion piece on myjoyonline.com on China's $2 billion bauxite facility, lessons from the infamous $3 billion CDB loan. Remember that loan that we went for during the previous administration that we couldn't get access to at a point? It was supposed to construct a railway from Takoradi to Kojo Krom, I remember. From Kojo Krom, sorry. It starts at Kojo Krom, sorry.
The biggest loan we were told at the time, the biggest loan ever.
Exactly.
And it didn't come. Imani warned it may not come, and it didn't.
Now get this, Yoweri Museveni is saying that I can do away with Parliament. That's on the Observer Uganda's website, Mr. Museveni. Over 67,000 could not get SHS of choice. NAT calls for extension of reopening it. A number of concerns here. We'll be putting them to Cassandra Chumampo for when she joins us.
But someone should tell
today.
Museveni that, what's the name? The president of Zimbabwe was once stronger than him.
Yes.
Robert Mugabe.
Yes, and
He
that's
was
a very
stronger.
terse message coming there from Malik Abbas Dabo. Let's switch over to the BBC News coming up after this.
This was Kwame's life before Interplus In Green Irrigation System.